When you provide liquidity in a typical liquidity pool like Uniswap, you are usually exposed to a risk known as impermanent loss. This loss occurs when the asset prices within the liquidity pool fluctuates, resulting in a decrease in your position's overall value if compared with just buying and holding the assets. Simply put, impermanent loss means you would have been much better off just holding the assets separately instead of providing liquidity to a pool. However, unlike other liquidity pools, Pendle's liquidity pools are designed with no impermanent loss for liquidity providers, while maximizing their yield earnings. In this video, we'll talk about how Pendle pools are designed, impermanent loss on Pendle, and how to provide liquidity on Pendle. Pendle liquidity pools are made up of two types of assets: principal tokens, PT, and standard yield tokens, SI. For example, an ST-ETH pool on Pendle will consist of PT ST-ETH and SI ST-ETH. Let's understand what each of these assets are. PT ST-ETH is the principal token of ST-ETH. For every PT ST-ETH that you own, you'll be able to redeem 1-to-1 for ST-ETH upon maturity. If you want to learn more about PT, do check out our previous video about principal tokens. SYST-ETH, on the other hand, is the standard yield token of ST-ETH, which is simply a wrapped version of the underlying asset to be compatible with Pendle. For all intents and purposes, you can just think of this as a normal ST-ETH token. We will refer to SI as the underlying token from now on for simplicity. Let's take a deeper dive into how Pendle's liquidity pools are designed. Using ST-ETH as an example, a liquidity provider's position in the ST-ETH pool on Pendle consists of PT ST-ETH and ST-ETH. Since one PT ST-ETH can be redeemed for one ST-ETH upon maturity, this means that all of the PT ST-ETH in the pool will eventually be converted into ST-ETH at the end of maturity. Basically, when the pool reaches maturity, all that's left in the pool is just ST-ETH. So, in terms of ST-ETH, liquidity providers, or LPs in short, will not suffer any impermanent loss because of all the LP positions will become ST-ETH at the end of the maturity. In other words, the fluctuations of PT price will not affect the LP's position at maturity. At this point, you might be wondering, what about YT? If there are no YTs in the pool, then how can users trade YT? Well, YT Trades also utilizes the same liquidity pool through a mechanism called flash swaps. You can read our documents about flash swaps to learn more. By now, we've talked about zero impermanent loss on Pendle. But what about maximizing yield earnings? Liquidity providers on Pendle earn yield from 4 different sources: the underlying yield from the asset, the swap fees generated from the pool, the fixed yield from the PT tokens, and the Pendle incentives provided by Pendle. That's a lot of yield! So let's learn how to provide liquidity on Pendle. The first step is to navigate to the pool page. Then, select your desired pool. We'll use the ST-ETH pool as an example. Here, you can easily choose the asset you wish to zap in with. Pendle will automatically route the asset of your choice into the necessary assets. Do note that this will incur a price impact since PT will be bought in this transaction. To avoid this, you can choose to toggle Zero Price Impact mode. In this mode, all of your input tokens will be converted into the underlying asset like ST-ETH. A portion of this will then be used to mint PT and YT, and PT will be paired with the remaining ST-ETH to provide liquidity. The YTs in this process will be returned to your wallet, which again can be sold or kept as you deem fit. Zero Price Impact mode is particularly useful, especially when price impact is significant in the initial stages of a new pool, when the liquidity is low. After that, key in the amount you'd like to deposit, approve your asset for transaction, and zap in! Great job so far! And just like PT and YT, you can also withdraw your LP position anytime. In this case, zero impermanent loss is not guaranteed. But good news, our study has shown that those who provide liquidity fare better than those who don't. The general rule for LP is basically, the longer you hold your position, the more likely you are to do better. To withdraw your position, head to the Zap Out tab. Slide the amount you'd like to withdraw, select the asset you wish to zap out to, and just zap out. It's that simple. Additionally, if you previously used the zero price impact mode when providing liquidity, here's how you can exit your position with the least price impact. Once you've selected your liquidity pool, head to the Manual tab. Then, slide to the amount you'd like to withdraw. Here, you can see that you'll receive the underlying asset plus the principal tokens of that asset. After withdrawing, you can pair the PT with the initial YT in your position to redeem the underlying asset. Since the amount of PT will not match 100% with the amount of YT, you can just sell your leftover PT or YT into the underlying asset. Note that this is the only step that incurs any price impact. Congratulations! You've just learned how to provide and withdraw liquidity on Pendle. And that's it for today's video. If you want to learn more in-depth about yield optimization, yield trading strategies, and Pendle Finance, check out our next video right here.